Well, it's a huge honor to get to be a part of the USA swimming staff again. 5 years later, I feel like I know what I'm doing a little bit more this time around. But it's all I'm grateful that we had three swimmers in Rio, and now we'll have five in Tokyo. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think we have 12 total, swimmers and divers, overall 8 US. So definitely moving in the right direction. And I'm super pumped to go to Tokyo and make USA proud.
David Woods, start us off.
Yes, Ray, how has that worked out with you sharing Brinegar with both yourself and Coach Schubert? That sounds like it take maybe a certain amount of sacrifice on your part as well.
Mark Schubert had pool access during the quarantine for everything but 2 weeks. So I sent my own daughter out to Mission Viejo last summer. And my agreement with Coach Schubert when Michael decided to come here would be that he could go home and swim with Mission in the summer. So this is nothing out of the ordinary. And he even redshirted and stayed in Mission, not this year, but the 2020 year. So this is all what we had planned. And it's worked out beautifully. And honestly, without that extra pool time, being a distance kid, I don't know if he's on the Olympic team. It was really a huge advantage for him, and it paid off.
And also, you've been very mission focused to put Americans on the U.S. Olympic swim team, but have had obviously benefited from foreign swimmers as well. What have people like Vinny Lanza brought to your program, and how has that influenced like the whole team? Because he just seems like a really vibrant personality and maybe somebody who would be such an influence.
When Doc was the swimming coach, we had people from all over the world. So, we really try to have an international team. My only chance to go to the games is for the United States, obviously my country. So, it's important that we put a good proportion of our Olympians on the team from the United States. But Vinny's one of our greatest swimmers ever, NCAA champion. And I'm really happy that he gets to go to his first Olympic Games. But Bailey Anderson for Canada and Tomer Frankel for Israel, Marwan El Kamash for Egypt. It's all important. They're all Olympians. And we take great pride in Indiana swimming and diving, as testament with our 69 Olympic medals. We hope to add to that total.
Vinny's best chance to 100 fly to final and medal?
It is. That wasn't a great race at his trials, but since he had a previous A cut, they picked him up for that event. So he'll obviously be able to do the 100-meter fly and the 200 IM, and 100's his best event. And it really doesn't matter how you get to the games. It just matters how you do there.
Dustin?
You mentioned feeling like you've got a better sense of how to do this after doing it in Rio, after coaching in Rio. How so? What did you learn the first time? What can you apply to doing this a second time?
Just how to manage this week. This week coming off the trials is real tricky. So try to get people in place. I mean, just doing a media session like this. In reality, they probably get requests every day, but trying to streamline it a little bit. There's so many demands on their time this week until we go to training camp, and they become isolated that, you do need some recovery time and to recharge the batteries. And then once we get into the village and, the 8 days of swimming itself, I felt like in Rio, we really, the last few days we were running on fumes. I wasn't real happy with how we performed on the relays, and I've learned a lot being a part of 2 world championship staffs on how to get through 8 days better and how to manage that. Like, Lily was getting on Dan Dockich, and I, in the village, like after 100 breast, she wasn't able to perform in her 200 breast and the relay like she had at the beginning. So just knowing what's coming, especially after great performances.
Michael Pegram?
Hey, Coach, I'm curious about how you manage the training in this interim period, especially with you got a double taper situation, and you're you haven't started your camp. Do you coordinate with the other coaches for how much each individual swimmer has to work? Is it, how do you manage all that?
It's a great question. This week, I've had an Olympic staff meeting every single day as we work through, I've got the athletes I'm responsible for, but also like trying to take care of Michael Brenniger and hooking him up with the distance swimmers. Because if you can compete on these training trips, you can make yourself better in a couple weeks. So making sure to hook Zach and Blake up with Caleb Dressel and the other sprinters. Lily and Annie, that's a little trickier because the only other breaststroker is that 17-year-old from Alaska. So they're going to kind of be motherly toward her because I'm sure she's going to be deer in the headlights, but just trying to have some socialization, because you can't just train by yourself for 5 weeks. That's not going to work. So we're just planning on logistically how we're going to do all that and come together as a team.
Kirk?
I just want to get your thoughts about, this collection that swimmers that you're sending, and, how they stack up against the others in the world and their chances.
Well, I'd say, if you're ranked pretty highly in the world, if you're top 5 in the world, you certainly have a medal opportunity. And I think Lily is 1st and 6th. Annie is 3rd in both the 100 and the 200, but she's only going in the 200. So they're medal contenders. I think Zach is a definite threat. Zach Apple in the 100 freestyle. And then Michael, he's going to have to drop a lot of time, which I do believe he's capable of to get himself into the top 8 and in medal contention. Marwan won't have to have shaved, in close proximity to the game. So he could be an outside shot. Guys like Vinny, Lanza and Tomer Frankel, ideally we want to get them into the A final. Like Tomer won a 51.8 unshaved at Israeli trials, and 51.2 made our team. And I just told Tomer on the phone, I go, you would have had a real good shot at making the U.S. team. And if you make the U.S. team, you're typically a medal contender. We have some events that we're not very highly ranked in. Usually it's been the longer ones just because of the compromised training in the COVID year. So I think we have some great opportunity also in relays as well. We want to bring home Olympic medals. That's what Team USA does.
Lou?
Hey, Ray, this is Lou from Seymour. I enjoyed your email the other day, but in the year since I last saw you at the Seymour pool, can you go through a little bit of where your mind has traveled from the uncertainty of a year ago to sort of a satisfaction moment at this point?
Well, a year ago, we were getting a little bit of long course water in Seymour, and I can't thank that community enough, specifically Dave Boggs, the high school coach there. And all year long, I was worried, did we do enough? We did everything we could. And I guess when you look back at who we've qualified for the Olympic Games, it was better than most. But really, we're going to be judged at what we do at the games. This is a big step. And for the U.S. kids, it's probably the hardest one. There's much more stress at the U.S. Olympic trials than the Olympic Games themselves, strangely enough. But really, I don't have any sense of satisfaction yet because, we still have the big one to go. That's Tokyo.
Thanks.
All right, we have time for one more. Kevin Brockway?
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen in the progression from Lily through the COVID year now to where she is heading into Tokyo?
I was talking to Lily, and in March, that was the best I've ever seen her, both in training and that meetup in Indianapolis. Her times at Olympic trials, I think they're just more a reflection of the stress that even she was under. So I still think she's got some really good times left in her in both the 100 and 200 at Tokyo. Like, I don't think we've seen her best. And I'd say that about everybody we're bringing, to be honest.
Yeah, and a quick follow, you talked about Olympic meetings. How much has just the COVID environment there been addressed? And what are you, as a coach, I mean, is there anything you're gonna, be required to do or have to do to kind of, look out for them after the village and so forth with regards to kind of do's and don'ts and stuff?
Yeah, well, I'd say everybody we're bringing, every athlete that I know of is vaccinated, which is good because you're going to have your phone in Japan, and if you walk within 6 feet of somebody that's positive, and they triangulate those phones, you're gone. So I feel good about that part of the equation. But Japan, once we go to Tokyo, that's going to be rough. They are draconianly locked down. So I think the village is not going to be that pleasant, but our kids are so tough. I mean, they went all over the place, ponds and driving an hour and 15 minutes to Seymour. I like the fact that we're already battle hardened with inconveniences, and IU is pretty harsh with the testing. We had to be tested 3 times. It'll be every day in Tokyo, but I think we're battle hardened. And if you want to do more questions, I see a lot of hands here. I'm happy to take a few more.
Ted Schultz, why don't you go and ask your question?
Okay. Yeah, Coach Looze, Ted Schultz from the
It's
Columbus
frozen.
Republic.
My screen is.
How much of a transformation did Michael Brenniger have to make to get from where he was swimming as an open water swimmer, and after not making the team in the open water event, to be able to make it in the 800 and 1500? How much of a transformation did he have to make? And did you guys specifically set your training in the college setting when he was at IU this year for him to be able to excel in the shorter events?
Coach Luz is frozen right now. We're working on it.
Ted?
Yes.
All right. I think I heard your question. In the collegiate season, we really worked on Michael Brenniger's speed and technique. And when I watched him swim in Omaha, that's the best his stroke has looked. And so I think the collegiate season really played a big role in, setting him up for his success. His club coach, Mark Schubert, really commented on that's the most his technique has improved. So it's a team effort on him for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, who wants to go? I got a couple more minutes. Somebody just speak up.
I actually have a question. Just about you and Drew both being Olympic coaches. Obviously, IU has a lot of tradition going back a long time, but what does it mean to have both of you guys being in the Olympics on that stage just for your program?
I think it's incredibly important, and it is so hard to be a coach for Team USA. I didn't ever think that would happen to me. Drew's on his 3rd time and I'm on my 2nd time. So I'm just humbled and grateful. We have really good coaches here and awesome swimmers, and that's what makes it all possible. So I'm really, really humbled to have the opportunity, and we just want to do a good job by those kids that are going.
JL Curvin.
Hey, Coach, a little earlier you called Zach Apple a definite threat at a medal. And I'm just curious, what is it about his skill set that makes you so confident in him?
Zach Apple is historically a very good second shave swimmer. And he was pretty close to Dressel in that 100 freestyle. And he's going to be a lot better in Tokyo. And, I just think he's got a real shot at gold or silver, but Caleb Dressel's the guy to beat, but Zach has trained incredibly well all year, and he's got I think he's got a huge drop in him. And if we can get the meet started off right, then he can really factor into a lot of relays as well. Just being a 100 freestyler, and that 200 free was a best time for him too. So his best swimming is coming in Tokyo. We all feel that way, and I think Zach feels that way. More importantly,
Kirk? David Woods?
Let me get this. Sure, I'm not muted.
we'll go with two more, and then Zach's waiting right behind me. Okay, guys.
Ray, Lily seems just as, just as focused and determined and driven as she's always been, but it also seems like Annie has, I don't know, just kind of influenced her just as a human being. What's it been like watching that interaction? Because I mean, just at the trials, I almost feel like I saw a different Lily.
I think we all saw a different Lily, but everybody felt that way for Annie with what she's been through. Everybody within our program wanted Annie to make that team, and Lily very much so. Like, that was an honest, genuine response by her, of total elation for Annie. So yeah, a different side of Lily that a lot of people don't know, but Lily's got a great heart. She truly cares about her teammates. But in Tokyo, she's going to want to beat Annie. No question. All bets are off.
And Annie's going to want to beat Lily, right?
Oh yeah. They'll go after
that.
it.
Seems to work for them.
They've gotten to that point. It takes you a while to get to that point, and sometimes you don't even get to that point. So, but we got a good culture here where everybody wants to see everybody be successful.